Good morning, Yellow Faculty.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Remembrance Assembly. Thank you as well for observing the 2-minute silence so well this week. So, what's the point of today's assembly? I'd like to make sure we all understand the importance of Remembrance Day, but also to understand the link with this here, with the poppy, and where that really comes in. So, as you can see, Remembrance Day is a memorial day dedicated to those who have served in the British forces and indeed in armed forces all across the globe, and looking at the sacrifice they've given to us. And it originates from the First World War. And obviously this year it's an incredibly important year because it's the centenary of the start of the First World War. And Remembrance Day starts in November 1919, because that's 1 year after the end of the First World War. The 11th of November is the official day, the end of hostilities, and that's where the poignancy of the 11s come in. Okay. As you can see, discussing the 100 years, we've already had this year some poignant reflection. Up there on the screen you'll see the Tower of London. And it may interest you to know that there's 888,246 poppies laid there. Ceramic poppies that would have taken about 10 minutes to make per poppy. So huge labour that's gone into that. And the reason for that is the amount of British soldiers killed in the First World War. And that's just British. 40% of the globe were directly involved in this conflict. As you saw there on the screen, over 16 million people lost their lives. That's how we are remembering it here. To put that into context, that's if those amount of poppies, that could fill Wembley Stadium seats 10 times over. So that's a huge amount. And you will also see there, on the right-hand side, the cenotaph. Hands up if you've seen that before, the cenotaph. Good, okay. Well, we all should have seen it on the 11th when the link was played. And that was put in place on November 1919 as a temporary structure. And it was made into a stone structure in 1920. Because clearly the First World War had such an impact, people wanted a place where they could go and remember, lay poppy wreaths, and have a moment's reflection. It's very easy, isn't it? Oh, Mr Dipple, you're a history teacher. Of course you're going to be interested in remembering World War I. But what's that got to do with me? What's the link with me? I think there is a link.
Rifleman Joe Strudwick. He was a Sandwich's knee when he died.
Staff Nurse Marianne Allen. She is from my village.
My great-uncle, Private Bill Concliffe.
Second Lieutenant Watertub. He played for my county team.
Private Percy, please. Before he went off to war, he worked right here.
Captain Singh. We share the same name.
Sergeant Henry Wilkins. Because if I don't remember him, who will?
There are many reasons to remember the 1.1 million fallen servicemen and women of the First World War. The most important is to ensure they're never forgotten. Join the Royal British Legion in remembering them all at everymanremembered.org.
Okay. So why was World War I so significant? Let's have a look at some stats. I've already mentioned 40% of the world's population were directly involved. This is not a British conflict. This is a conflict that engages all corners of the globe, as you can see on the map. There were over 71 million soldiers who fought in World War I. And as you can see there, over half of those soldiers died. So if I could ask you all to stand up, put this into context, if I can ask this row to sit down, 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 you guys to sit down, to put it into a visual context, if these were the soldiers in World War I, these people would have died, okay? Or would have been wounded, or would have been taken prisoner, or would simply never have been found again. Over 500,000 British soldiers' bodies never found. Thank you for participating. You have a seat. If we look at specifically the British Empire, and we're not just talking about Britain, we're talking about countries such as India, such as Jamaica, and all corners again of the globe, over 1/3 of these soldiers killed, wounded, taken prisoner, or simply never found. So what do members of the public think?
At one time, people would go past the cenotaph at Whitehall, and if a man had a cap or a cloak, he'd always raise that cap or his hat, even if he was on a bus going past. The man would always raise, and if you was just walking, you would just stop for a minute and look, and then you would pass on. That doesn't happen anymore. I don't think so anyway, because I've never seen it happen on a bus, but although not a lot of people wear hats these days, but that was just something that you would do. And another thing was on the 11th day of the 11th month, everything stopped, traffic stopped, everything stopped at 11 o'clock. And this is what I've always done, and which I think a lot of people of my age would do. Maybe the younger people don't think about it quite so much.
Our parents that is gone in the war, our parents, they have made a way for the youngsters today. So we should just remember it in history, but not continue to promote war. We want a better world today.
This gentleman behind me on the screen, this is where the Poppy link comes in. This guy's name is John McCrae, and he was a field surgeon at the Battle of Ypres in 1915 in the First World War. And he wrote this poem that we will now hear.
In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the lark still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below.
We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields.
Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing can we throw, the torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us you die, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
So one read. Okay. So inspired by hearing this poem, a lady called Moyna McMichael in 1920 picks up the idea of the symbol of the poppy and decides to sell poppies to the public in order to generate revenue to help families of fallen servicemen. And that's where the link comes in. And we're very lucky today because we have Dr David Ashby, who's the chairman of the Royal British Legion for Morden and an ex-serviceman himself, who's going to just say a few words on the importance of the Royal British Legion of the poppy. So.
The Royal British Legion supports all soldiers. 40% of the British Army is from the Commonwealth. Every penny that you put into the box goes to help a soldier, his wife or his children. Because if a soldier dies, his wife has got no support except from the Royal British Legion. So really, you're helping your brothers and sisters. Thank you very much.
Okay, so it's not right to have this assembly and not acknowledge another key symbol of this day, and that's the last post which Mr Duff played for us on the 11th. Let's just reflect on that sound. conjunction with that, this is a piece of literature that was produced by a Cornish poet in 1914 after one of the biggest disasters that the specialist army, the British Army, had ever seen, the British Expeditionary Force. They were fighting the Battle of Mons. There was 70,000 British troops and 160,000 German troops, and they were annihilated. And in response to that, this piece of literature was produced. And this piece of literature is really symptomatic and linking in with Remembrance Day. Matteo is going to read this to us.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Excellent, thank you very much. This week's assembly competition is something completely different in terms of the prize, I think. So, in order to really understand and really get involved and under the skin of World War I, we're giving you this opportunity. We're giving you the opportunity to go to France and Belgium for 3 nights, all expenses paid. You'll travel over on the Eurostar. Your accommodation will be paid for. In order to win this prize, you'll need to put a PowerPoint presentation together. And really the title of that PowerPoint presentation is, Why Should We Remember World War I? Now, you need to partner up with someone. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone from the same faculty. And what you'll need to do is put a PowerPoint presentation together and email it to me via your tutor. The winner, and the deadline's on Wednesday, the winner and their partner will go on a London-wide schools trip. So there'll be 2 students from here, and there'll be other schools represented, up to 50 I believe. Coaches will be laid on, you'll be taken to France and Belgium, you'll visit the battlefields, you'll visit the cemeteries, and you'll be involved in student workshops. So hopefully, it should be a really good prize, and we should see lots of yellow faculty entries. Thank you for listening.
A big thank you to our readers, to Mr Dipple and to our special guest today. It is I think one of those real humbling assemblies, and it is one that I hope humbles you as well. It is very difficult, I think, for many of us to associate to this because it is so long ago in many ways, especially World War I. But the thing that we have to really remember is that the poppies, yes, as Sir has said today, to represent this, and equally for us to understand that we're here today because of what these men and women did in all of the world wars, but the poppy is there to help all the people that are still involved. Now, for example, my father's perfectly well, but he served in a war with our special guest. Not together, but at the same time in a place called Aden in the 60s. There are things going on now that you see in the news. And our servicemen and women, they go there, whether we believe in it or not, whether we agree with it or not, they go there to try and make sure that we can lead the life that we lead. That you can walk down the road to go and get your chicken. That you can come to school as we do here. And they have done that since before this time, and they will continue to do that forevermore. So when it is poppy time, please do not go and buy that 10p sweet. Put that money in the box, just that once. Doesn't matter how much you put in, it's about contributing something. Go and do that and wear your poppy with pride to show that we'll never forget them, and equally we'll never forget anybody else that has to put their life at risk so that we can all sit here and have a lovely life. So please always remember that. It's not just then, it's about the future as well. Thank you very much.